Good afternoon from a very blustery Scottish Highlands. It's currently early February 2026, and the weather up here in the far north is what I would describe as, well, stereotypically Scottish right now. Rainy, blustery, overcast, moody, dramatic. For the last couple of weeks, there's been this Baltic wind blowing in off the east, and it's winter. And you might think, well, that sounds dreadful. Why am I grinning? Because I love it. I genuinely love this. I love this weather. I love this time of year. It's my favorite season. And what I find somewhat amusing is I came up here a year ago, and Scotland has a reputation for really hardcore, intense, brutal winters. And so I remember waking up the first morning and walking the grounds here last year in winter and going, did I miss the memo? Where's the snow? And then fast forward a year to today, and I'm walking around here in winter again going, where's the snow? I mean, obviously, the beginning of the year, we had a good dump of snow that lasted a week. Maybe 8 days. But there are people right now in the American Midwest or the American Northeast or the Canadian interior who are literally digging themselves out of their homes, and they're staring at this green hillside behind me and going, what? And yeah, it's way more mild up here than you think it is. And this is important because it has some implications on tourism, but also this matters quite a lot on where people choose to live. And if we rewind the clock as little as, say, 40 years ago, yeah, like there were still some properly hardcore winters up here, at least by UK standards, compared to an average winter in New England. Over in the US, it's still mild. But over the last 10 to 15 years, the picture has changed. I mean, quite candidly, well, I went through worse than this growing up in San Francisco. So, let's talk about it. We've got a lot of other fun stuff coming up in this episode, so let's get started.
Many people dream of returning to the home of their ancestors, Scotland. Last year, in 2025, I fulfilled a lifelong ambition and bought my dream home in the Scottish Highlands. I've made some incredible new friends along the way, and now, in 2026, I'm letting go of the past and building a new life for myself as I explore this amazing land. My name's Jason, and I live in the far north of the Scottish Highlands. This is my story. Welcome to the American Highlander.
The sponsor for today's video is a company called SURI, and I'm actually very happy to be working with these guys because something I haven't mentioned on the channel, I have periodontal gum disease. I've actually had a couple of gum grafts. And let me tilt the camera up. This is built ridiculous, craning my neck at that angle. So if you've never had a gum graft, yeah, it's really not pleasant. It's not a good experience. I've had to get it done twice. As a matter of fact, I probably need like 2 more gum grafts because my gums have actually receded so much. So one of the things I've kind of really gotten into recently is best practices for improving oral hygiene. I mean, I brush my teeth a couple of times a day, and floss and what have you, but there's more to the story than that. The toothbrush itself is a substantial factor in this equation, and that's why I'm genuinely happy to be working with SURI, because if you have a manual toothbrush, and that's what I used most of my life, you know, the bristles get worn out. They start, well, looking like the hair on my head right now. And even if you're using an electric toothbrush, either way, there's still the issue of bacteria. So you get done with the brush, rinse it, set it down, leave it alone. Well, bacteria are growing on your toothbrush. And, you know, it doesn't magically just sterilize itself, and you're putting this in your mouth every day. And this is important because if you're in my position with periodontal gum disease, yeah, you know, stuff like that from infected gums can add to plaque building up in your arteries. It increases the risk of heart disease. So yeah, this is something that I'm personally taking very seriously. And you know my rule, I don't allow paid sponsors on my channel unless it's a product or service that I personally believe in. And SURI is one of them. Because, here, let me crack this thing open and show you. The brush itself, really nice, really straightforward activation button, no issues there. Ultrasonic, great, genuinely great cleaning. I mean, without a doubt, either manual or electric, that is the best toothbrush I've ever used. End of discussion. And I'm not saying that because this is a paid sponsorship. I'm saying it because it's true. If it weren't true, I wouldn't have allowed them on the channel. But the other factor as well is it's this case. So the case, when you close it up, you press that button right there. Let me focus the camera in on it. So what this is doing, here I'll focus it back out now. What this is doing is it's using UV light to clean the brush. It's sterilizing it. It's getting rid of, I don't know, 99% of whatever the heck is living on the brush. So, you know, when you go to the dentist, they're using instruments that are sterilized. You should be doing the same thing at home. And modern technology means that you've got this really nice, clean, efficient case. It's a USB charge port. You can have a properly sterilized toothbrush to use every day. And having it in a case like this also makes it super easy for travel. So right now they're promoting their Brush Together bundle. It's part of their whole Valentine's Day campaign. But I'll put my code somewhere up on the screen. If you use that code in addition to the discount that they're offering on the Brush Together bundle just normally, you get an extra 15% off if you use my code. It also tells SURI that, hey, you saw this on my channel, which makes them more inclined to come back and do more sponsor spots. So, yay. But like I said, this is actually something that I personally am using and will be using long after you've forgotten about this individual sponsor spot. The bottom line is, if you are using a manual toothbrush or an electric toothbrush, honestly, yeah, switch to SURI. It's a better choice. Okay, I think that's enough on that. Let's dive into the topic of today's episode, which is where did all the snow go up here in the Highlands? All right, let's indulge in the national pastime of this country, talking about the weather. At the time of recording this, it's been about 3 weeks straight of easterlies and just cold, driving wind and rain. And down in Aberdeenshire, for instance, they haven't seen the sun in 19 days. They just set a new record for the most number of consecutive days without sun. And up here, it really isn't all that different. So it's kind of interesting when you wake up every morning and you look outside and you go, where am I? Seattle? I would expect this sort of winter in the Pacific Northwest of the U.S. But the one thing that is conspicuous by its absence is snow. Now, obviously, if you go up in elevation, if you go up into the Cairngorms, you'll get more snow. And if you go to the interior of Sutherland, which, again, you're at elevation, and topographically it's sort of a giant bowl ringed by mountains, so it's very conducive to getting a lot of snow. You know, it's a different story depending on where you're at. But even so, all you have to do is, here on YouTube, look up video clips of this area, southeastern Sutherland along the coast, from 10 or 15 years ago. And you'd see a lot more snowfall here at sea level than what we have now. And this points to a larger trend, which is worth discussing, because the number one or number two question/comment that I've gotten on this channel since I started is winter. Are you ready for winter? Are you prepared for winter? The number of just Weisenheimer comments on my very first video, which, because it was filmed and released in the summer, people who were like, yeah, you're all smiles and happiness now, but wait until winter. Like, you know what, living up here is like being part of Shackleton's expedition to the pole? But it occurred to me that there is a reputation that the Scottish Highlands, particularly the far north, have for just really intense, brutal, hardcore winters where, you know, you're in a cave churning your own butter and, you know, making fire by yourself for warmth. That's just not true. Now, it used to be true. I think that's important to point out. For instance, this house was built at the end of the Little Ice Age. That's the middle of the 19th century. Now, at that time, winters were far more brutal than anything any of us would experience today. Then the Little Ice Age ended and things started warming up and made it much more habitable up here. And pointedly, that really has nothing to do with man-made activity. That's just Mother Nature shifting the climate bands. Now, what has happened in recent years is that man-made activity has accelerated this shift in climate bands. And this is starting to have a pretty significant effect, not just on the far north and not just Scotland in general, but all of the UK, all of Europe, I mean, the whole planet. So one of the things that's become very obvious is, I mean, if you talk to anyone who was born and raised up here, if they're over the age of 40, 45, they remember winters up here that were much more intense. You know, snowpack that was burying cars and you'd have to dig yourself out, which, granted, even that level of winter would be roughly equivalent to an average winter in the northern half of the American Midwest or the American Northeast or the Canadian interior. So it's all relative. But one of the things that is very conspicuous is that in the last 10 to 15 years, the severity of winter has decreased considerably, and the amount of snow has really plummeted. And this has some pretty serious implications, because less snowpack means you have a higher risk of 6 months from now, forest fires, and you also have a higher risk of drought. And not just drought, but droughts that have greater longevity and greater severity. And we saw this last year. Last year was a very mild year. It was a very mild winter. I was here for it. And when I moved in here, which was almost exactly a year ago from the time of this recording, I remember walking the grounds and going, where's the snow? It's winter time. Where's the snow? And, same thing this year. Just walking around and going, where's the snow? I mean, at the beginning of this year, the first week of January, that was a glimmer of, okay, this is the way it used to be. Like, that was proper snowfall. But that lasted a week. And after that, I mean, it's been rainy. It's been quite rainy. And this is a larger trend. You've got prolonged rainy conditions during the wintertime, and then prolonged and more severe heat and drought in the summertime as the climate bands shift. So the drought conditions last year up here were mild to moderate. It was much more severe further south. And there's no reason to suspect that this won't continue. And I bring this up because inevitably someone is probably shouting at the TV screen right now, yeah, but what about the winter of 2010 or 2018 or something like that? Yes, there are individual years where things are a bit more old school, but the larger trend is undeniable. Winters have just gotten a lot more mild up here. And this has a couple of interesting implications for the far north. I'm actually a little hesitant to even talk about this because part of me is like, don't let everyone know that the far north is much more livable and there's a lot less snow, because then everyone is going to stampede up here and try to change the place, and we don't want that. And I agree. I don't want that. I don't want a stampede of humanity up here. But the far north is also dealing with a depopulation crisis. We are losing people. And, that eventually is going to become such a critical problem that it will make infrastructure untenable up here. So the only way to mitigate that, if you're not going to increase the native birth rate, is inward migration, attracting more people from further south to come up here and bring their families up here and integrate into the local community and the local culture. And this has already started. For instance, if you look at the Inner Murray Firth and the greater Inverness area, over the last decade or so, I believe it's been the fastest growing metropolitan urban center in all of the UK. Because you've got a lot of people who are looking at what's going on with the climate and going, okay, well, how far north can I go to try to buy myself some time, with the added benefit of my money just goes further as soon as I get the heck out of England. Now, the obvious losers in this are locals who were born and raised here who can't afford to live in their own communities anymore because they're getting priced out and they have to seek their fortune elsewhere. Creates a brain drain. It's creating this depopulation crisis. So there is no magic wand solution to that, unfortunately. But one of the things that is going to continue is over the next 10 to 20 years, you're going to have what's called the Great Wealth Transfer. Boomers transferring their estates and their wealth to their millennial inheritors. A portion of those people can work from anywhere. They work 100% remote. And so they're going to look around and go, yeah, how far can I get my money to go? And, this house cost me £360,000. I couldn't get a shoebox in London for that kind of money. And up here I've got, 4-bedroom, 2-bath house on acreage. So, this is not isolated. This is a trend that's going to continue. And that's not a hot take because it's already started. It's been going for a decade now. And my prediction is it's going to accelerate as more and more people realize that winters up here are way more mild than they were even 15 years ago. And that's not going to stop. So, my only request to anyone from the outside who is thinking about moving up here, this is a phenomenal place to live. Understand that it is, to a certain extent, economically deprived, and thus do your part to integrate with the local culture, support the local economy, support local businesses, become a part of the community. That matters, because inward migration is going to continue up here, driven in no small part by the fact that there's just less snow, and it makes it easier to live here. So, integrating into the local culture and supporting the local economy, making this your home properly. Yeah, it's important. And I encourage anyone moving up here to do that. And speaking of local culture, one thing that happens in the dead of winter up here, it's a wonderful cultural tradition. And it's something that I had never experienced firsthand until now. Burns Night. Let's take a look.
My hometown of Golspie is one of the best places to live in Scotland. Only an hour north of Inverness on the NC 500, Golspie has a wealth of attractions, including beaches, mountain hiking and biking, a castle, a national nature reserve, fantastic restaurants, and an outstanding golf course. Designed by James Braid, Golspie Golf Course is a mixture of links, heathland, and parkland. An 18-hole par 70, it comes in at 6,021 yards off the white tees, rewarding careful play over raw power, especially if there's a breeze coming in off the North Sea. I'd been invited by Golspie Golf Club's president, Jimmy, to film a Scottish cultural tradition, Burns Night. As it turns out, Jimmy is the famed film and TV actor Jimmy Yuill, whom you'll remember from Local Hero, Wycliffe, and Shetland. On the day this originally airs, 13th February, it's also Jimmy's 70th birthday, so please wish him a happy birthday in the comments. He and Sheila Robertson, both pictured here, were working on transforming the golf club into a venue for the Burns Supper. If you're not familiar with Burns Night, it's an amazing evening celebrating the famous Scottish poet Robert Burns, and it's filled with music, speeches, and good old-fashioned revelry. This is what happened.
Well, I'm going to dress this table first, because this is top. Okay, hide all the marks. A little bit of tartan.
Are there enough tables here?
Well, we're seating for 78, so more chairs have to come, but they're in use until tomorrow afternoon, so we'll just... Probably the spaces won't be as wide by the time people... It's to be as sort of cosy and intimate as we can do it, so it'll be mostly candles, white tea lights, doing without the top lights if we can, because they're a bit... So, and the trophy cabinet will be lit, so there's quite a bit of light there. Well, the formal bit consists of these 4 prescribed speeches with entertainment threaded between them. But then we sort of have a little bit of free-for-all after that, so there's a few people who wouldn't want their name in the programme, but they might have a wee turn to do later on. They've had enough alcohol.
Have you got
my
full
mic?
house, have you?
80, aye. That's it. You know this man, this Emma boy, you know this man?
Welcome to Burns Night at the Golspie Golf Club. I've never been to a Burns Night before. I have no idea what to expect. This is going to be fun. I really can't wait to show this to you. Come on, let's go take a look.
Hello, everybody. Not bad. I thought Panto had finished. Welcome to Golspie Golf Club's annual Burns Supper. Who needs live telly? Good man. Excellent.
Fair fa, your honest, sonsy face, great chieftain o' the Puddin race. Aboon them all ye tak your place, painch, tripe, or fairham, really wordy o' a grace, as lang's my air. The groan and trencher, there ye fill. Your herdies, like a distant hill, your pin would help to mend a mill in time of need, while through your pores the dews distill like amber mead. His knife, see, rustic labour dicht, and cut ye up with ready slicht, trenching your gushing entrails bricht like ony ditch. And then, oh, what a glorious sight, warm, reeking, rich. Then horn for horn they stretch and strive, deal tack the he-mace, on they drive, to all their wheel-swall kites belive are bent like drums. The old guidman, mace like to rive, but thank it, hums. Is there our his French ragout or olio that would stow a sou, or fricassee would mak her spew with perfect scunner, looks to me sneering, scornful view and sick a dinner? Ha! Poor devil! See him out his trash, as feckless as a withered rash. His spindle shank a good whiplash, his knee a knit. Through bloody flood or field to dash, oh how unfit. Ah, but mark the rustic, haggis fed, the trembling earth resounds his tread. Clapping his wally neva blade, and watch it whistle, as legs and arms and heaps are sned, like the taps of thistle. Ye powers from that mankind ye care and dish them out their bill of fare. All Scotland wants nae skinking ware that jouts and luggies. But if you wish a grateful prayer, gie her a haggis.
Yes. Excellent. Hey!
Tonight we remember Robert Burns, not as a statue, not as a schoolbook figure, not even as a painting, but as a living voice, lifted in song and verse, in argument, in laughter, and in defiance.
Lay the throne usurpers low, tyrants fall and every foe, liberties in every woe. Let us do our best. Here we go. Scots were hated, wall is fled. Scots were Bruce has often led, and welcome to your glory bed, or to victory. Now's the day and now's the hour. See the front of battle, see approach proud Edward's power. Chains and slay, one more time. Scots are hated, was here. Scots from Bruce has often led, and welcome to your glory bed, or to victory. Now's the day and now's the hour. See the front of battle, see approach proud Edward's power, chains and slavery. Well done, guys. Well done. Is that it?
Burns Night is more than just a celebration. It's a reminder of how life should be. Friendship, community, and a shared cultural history.
Acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind. Should acquaintance be forgot and all lang syne. for the days of old lang syne. Lang syne, mighty, for the days of old lang syne. Of kindness yet for the days of old lang syne.
For today's scenic drive, we're headed south from the village of Tongue on Scotland's north coast, going from the Castleberwick viewpoint along the A836 past Loch Craggy to Lettermore at Loch Loyal. This is a staggeringly beautiful drive, especially at sunset. Also, that bothy that we passed along the way, my friend Faye, over on her channel, she actually filmed a video there last week, so go check it out. This is the far north.